Hello, Benjies, and welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. At the BingeWorthy podcast, we will binge watch a television series to let you know if you should. My name is Johnny Randolph, or you can just call me Randy, and I've got two dope ass co-hosts with me. My first co-host is Chuck. Man, Chuck, say what's up to the people.
What it do, people? What it do? I'm here.
And my next co-host is the Newt from the Ville, Ricard. Yo, say what's up to the people, man.
Hello, Governor.
I love it when he says that. Today, we are reviewing season 1 of Moon Girl and the Devil Dinosaur. At this time, I'm going to ask our technical director, Rodney, let the people know, how did each of us rate Moon Girl? All right, so we all gave it 4 binge outs. Nice. If you are unaware of the premise of our show, at the beginning, we will rate that series. Then we engage in conversation. And at the end, we will re-rate it. Now, for the premise of Moon Girl, it is Lunelle Lafayette is a 13-year-old genius living with her parents and grandparents in the Lower East Side of New York. One day, she activates a portal and a red Tyrannosaurus steps out of it. With the support of her friend Casey, she becomes a superhero named Moon Girl and the Dinosaur, the Devil Dinosaur. Now, we're going to engage in some conversation, and we're going to talk about this and see, how everybody felt. Everybody gave it 4 binge out. I'm going to start with you, Rakai. For the first couple of episodes, or most of the season, I would say it had a kid theme. It was targeted towards children. So as an adult, though, is this something that you think that other adults would enjoy, and why?
That's actually a really good question. And that's actually hard for me to gauge because I'm really kind of a kid at heart. Just an old ass kid. I don't know. I like things that are entertaining, and and it could be easy for me to say, yes, I watched this in the interest of, I have 4 kids who are teenage and below from age 15 to 6, but I watched this series by myself. I don't even think they've seen an episode. So, I just thought it was an adorable little series. I love the way that it was done. I love the theming. I love the girl power of it. I loved everything about how this show was done, and I enjoyed it. So I think anyone who likes animated stuff, or then they would thoroughly enjoy this. And I know not everyone does. A lot of people at some point in their life, they kill off their inner child and think that they're too grown to watch animated cartoons are for little kids, and they really are not. So I thought this was great.
Fair point. Chuck, man, I thought the show, it had a unique animation style and look to it. You are our expert in animation. What'd you think about the animation style and the look of the series?
I've actually loved it. It took a very big twist to Cal art style. Cal art style is the style that's been modernized, that everybody goes into, from Teen Titans Go to Gumball, Steven Universe, to Gravity Falls. That's called Cal art style. It's a style that's made in the animation schools. It's made to be really quick. However, they did something very unique by making it look like a comic book page. Instead of using very thin lines, they use thick lines. They use a lot of neon colors and pastels, and they mixed the palette up, especially when there was a montage or a fighting scene. instead of spending a lot of money on color pages, they sat there and went to like a monochromatic neon style of art for those fight scenes. The animation, they spend all the animation in the face of the characters. When the characters walk, sometimes they would float around, but it didn't bother you at all because it felt like a comic book the whole entire time.
Okay.
I thought it
Rakai,
was brilliant.
go ahead.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I just thought it was brilliant.
Okay.
They did a really good job. They took basic shapes and stuff and sewed the characters. I was really impressed with the scribble lines. It looked like a comic book.
I thought the coloring that you talked about, I thought it was fascinating. The way they did the action sequences, I thought it
Mhm.
really added to the overall strength of the show and provided something a little different. I don't know if I see those kind of colors and the way they blended everything together in a lot of other series. So I thought it was innovative and it just had a look too that fit the tone of the series, right? I'm not an animation expert at all, but I felt like this style fit what they were trying to convey in this series. Rakai, what about you? What did you think about the look of it? A Moon Girl.
I agree with Chuck, and he is the expert on stuff like this. I thought it was a very appropriate. It looked like a kid show, and it could be easy to be written off as that, but the writing was very crisp and very smart. The way that they handled a lot of episodes was very, very smart. And I thought, kind of like what you said, the colors, it just popped off of the screen. And then I could have given this show, 5 out of 5, based on the music alone.
We're gonna talk about that. So we got some heavyweights from a acting perspective here. We've got Lawrence Fishburne and Alfre Woodard and some great actors out there. But as we've said in the past, right here on this podcast, because you are a good actor doesn't mean you are a good voice actor, especially for an animated property. Chuck, what'd you think about the quality of the acting? Did it contribute to the overall strength of the show, or was it like maybe a step down?
I thought it was great. I thought it was excellent actually. I thought everybody acted as the character. Every character had their own voice, unique voice. Even Lawrence Fishburne, who's an executive producer on the show, he acted as three different characters, and he did an amazing job for all three. You know, at first I thought the narrator was the Beyonder, and I like to have that belief, like the Beyonder was narrating the whole entire thing, because I'm so familiar with Lawrence Fishburne's voice.
I thought he was the narrator.
As the narrator, they have it marked down as a narrator. They
Okay.
had that scared, but it sounded good. I thought, is Beyonder narrating this whole entire thing? And that would add another layer to it. Like he's narrating the whole entire story because he needs her to become who she needs to become in order to protect them.
I thought it was, and I thought that was really cool to have him do that.
Yeah, I did too.
He's not at the beginning. He's not at the beginning. He comes in later and have him narrate the whole thing because he reminded me like of a Q character from Star Trek. Like he sees all, he's omnipotent, right? And he can see everything.
He's like the Watcher.
Yeah, the Watcher, all those types of characters. Okay, yeah. All right. So Rakai, man, you talked about it a little bit earlier. You talked about the soundtrack. How did the soundtrack contribute to the overall strength of telling this story to you?
So, first of all, I can't even talk about the music without starting with the theme song. Moon Girl, Magic. The song is popping. It resonates. It stays in your head. Like once I hear it, I'll be humming it for the next couple days. It stays in your head. I also found out, and after talking to Chuck briefly about it, one of the later episodes, I saw they did like a remix of Moon Girl Magic in one of the episodes. And it was a remix by Raphael Sadiq, from Tony Tone fame. And then I found out that he was the music producer on the show. He provided the score, which, come on, Tone, Raphael Sadiq did the music. Like the music just was killer all through. It was appropriate. it was radio worthy, like even like
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
So it just and I thought it was interesting that their family owned a roller rink, and it kind of reminded me of that. Just you know, like back when you were a kid and you go to the roller rink to hang out with your friends and your family. It was just a great time. Like the show felt like summertime. Like it was, yeah.
Summertime. I like that. Yeah, it felt like summertime with a group of friends, and you're going through their everyday adventures. And like the skating rink, like that was my first club. The skating rink was my first club at like 13 years old with my friends. We used to get dressed up to go to the skating rink. And it was like, yeah, the girls was there, you know, you had a little bit of money in your pocket, and it just made it like super fun. Like, yeah, girl, I could buy you some nachos, you know.
Look
That
at
was
you buying
that
nachos in your Versace shirt.
Yeah.
was
Give them quarters to
But
play Donkey Kong.
can I put a little input on the music as well?
Absolutely. I was coming to you. Come on.
Some of the music was amazing, and it was its own character in the episode. When it got to the commercial cards and it said Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, and they're different colors, and they played two different songs, and it let you know that's what a commercial break would have been. But this is on normal television, which you told me, which I didn't know it was on normal television. But that card, the music that was playing, that acid jazz, lo-fi, tempo house music they would play was amazing. Every episode was different. They didn't repeat one of those songs in those 5 to 10 seconds of music, and each one was set to the tone of the episode, but at that point in the episode.
Yeah. It was like you said, it was a character, and you know, it went with the actual action sequences. It was almost like it was choreographed. The animation was choreographed to go along with the music.
It was like, hey, Raphael, we need to make these songs to fit our show.
Yeah,
They
but
weren't just songs they just threw in.
Yeah, but Raphael, it's not the first time because he was the composer for Insecure for all the seasons that they had. He did the soundtrack for that. So, you know, that's kind of I think his wheelhouse. And he captured like California, I thought, in Insecure. I don't want to go into a deep dive in that, but yeah, he's out there killing it. Any songs stand out for each of you? Rikai, you got any song that kind of just stood out a little bit more for you?
No, because they were all really so good. And like Chuck said, they were their own character. So they were part of each episode. Like I said, the only one really that stood out to me is the theme song. And then when they did the remix of it in one of the late episodes, like that song, I say that because I don't know, I guess that song has sat with me the longest because I first heard that song when they put out the video as part of the promotion packaging for this show months ago before the show ever came out. And when they put that out, and then I found out who did the song and who was voicing Lunella or Moon Girl, I was blown away. And so that song has sat with me for months now. You know, I've probably heard that song for like 6 months. Was the show been out like 2-3 months?
Something like it came out in February, I want to say, like the
Yeah.
first.
So, and probably heard that song, what, like November of last year or something like that, December. So,
okay. Chuck, what about you? Any song that stands out to you? Maybe you got on your phone playing
Yeah, The Beyonder, where Lawrence Fishburne is singing. It kind of reminds me of the Mr. Grinch song.
yeah.
The Beyonder. And also Libe Bear's song, which is Casey's song. Alts Is Guts, her bar mitzvah song.
Yeah.
That stood out to me. I was like,
I
that's a banger.
I love the bar mitzvah episode, period.
Me too. Me too.
That was super dope. All right, so
Yeah.
let's talk through this. So I'm gonna follow Chuck and come back to you, Rakai. One of the things that I found out in doing my research was that this had an all-black writers' room. It's a black show in a black community with starring, you know, a little black girl. Do you think that was necessary to tell this story? Is having an all-black writers' room?
I think it was necessary, no, but I think it is appreciated well received, well loved. I feel very seen with this show.
Mm.
They focus on the importance of a black household. Like even like people want to credit Norman Lear for writing black people, black families, and he didn't quite exactly write my family.
Mm-mm.
Good Times, San Francisco. That was
Oops.
nothing like my family.
Mm-mm.
They were nothing like my family. Even the Cosby Show, they didn't have a lot of black. They didn't have a full black writers' room in there, and it didn't feel like my family. But this felt like my family. It was the small things, the subtle things they would do in the episodes that made me say, "Oh, I get it." It's like
Sure.
things that you would do, and if you know when you have black writers, right? Like a black male meets a woman at a bar, and their families are from similar locations. You start listing off relatives to see if y'all can, first of all, but to see if y'all know the same people, second of all.
Which you do. Which you
You
do.
do
And
it.
every black parent, like, who are your people? When you meet a
Who's
girl,
your people?
who's your peoples?
Yeah, especially if you're from the same place,
Right. Yeah, it's a common question.
especially in antebellum South.
Yep. Yep.
Who's your
Yep.
people?
Yep. Who's your
You know,
peoples?
and
Every father done asked that of any girl, any guy that's done picked up his daughter, mother, same thing. Who's your peoples?
mm-hmm.
And you
The
got
hair episode,
Mhm.
the wigs in the closet with Casey's wigs and stuff. Um, the gentrification episode.
Oh, that was amazing.
I mean, they explain things that kids would understand without over politicizing it. It's
Mhm.
the things that just exist.
Yeah. I was watching something a while ago, and it was when Denzel was doing Fences, and right, he directed it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying, could a white person have done it? And Denzel was like, yeah, it was like, but a white person could have, a non-black person could have done Schindler's List. It's about culture, though. It's not necessarily about race.
Mm-hmm.
It's about culture. So the sound that a pressing comb makes a girl doing her hair, or like you said, meeting your parents for the first time, like that's authentically
Mm-hmm.
culture, right? Who your peoples, those types of things. And I feel like this show really got that and it captured it. And I feel like this could only be done with a room full of black writers, or at the very least, black writers being in charge of the writers' room.
Yep.
No,
Even the title of sorry, guys, sorry.
no, it's all right. What I was gonna say was, not only was it reminiscent, what did it give you the feel of an authentic black family, but it also gave you the feel, and I don't know if any of the people in the writers' room are from this area, but this area they lived in the LES. They lived in Lower East Side, in Manhattan, in New York City. And if you've ever been there, and I know many, I've been there, and I know many people that are from there. It's populated with both blacks and Latinos, people, Dominicans and things like that. And this felt like the LES, like even that gentrification episode, it felt it felt like the LES. It felt like a real black family. Them sitting around at the house enjoying each other, and not only that, an extended family inside the house, and we sitting here, we playing cards, playing
Mm-hmm.
dominoes, playing. Let's get out the
Space.
Uno.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah,
It felt like that.
They
yeah.
played spades. They talked about how competitive she was and
Competitive in
everything.
space, like that's a real thing.
And it's a real thing.
And you know what I did? Like I told, like what was that one Jamie Foxx movie that he did for Pixar? It came out a couple years ago.
So
So, right, I noticed the contrast between what I felt like Soul and for this. Soul did not feel authentically black. Like Rakad just said too, like in the LES, it didn't feel like that way. It felt like white people were trying to solicit, like, oh, what would we do? Like this, though, it felt like, yeah, they were right there.
Mm-hmm.
They understood it for the jump.
you know,
And
to your point, it almost seems like people assume, oh, Soul is a black movie because it stars Jamie Foxx.
Mhm.
No, it just stars a black man. That doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
it a black movie. This show has a universal appeal, but it very much features and is about a little black girl, little black family, and a BIPOC neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You saw Muslim people in the show.
Yeah.
Girls with their head wraps. You saw Indian people in the show, like actual like from India, Indian people. And it's like this is dope.
And like
And
you all,
I actually expected, and they never talked about it. I actually expected until they said it later. I expected Casey and her family to be Catholic, and then it came out that they were Jewish. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we got a lot of
interesting.
good stuff.
I
Yeah,
love it.
you guys alluded to it, the gentrification episode, but the first episode I liked was the electricity, right? How
Mm-hmm.
in this neighborhood resources are being depleted, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
from outside forces that are doing this. And I thought they tackled this situation with so much class and dignity that it didn't come across as preaching, but you did understand what was the motivation for this episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any other go ahead, Ricardo, were you about to say something?
Well, I was gonna say because and that makes you think like where they did these themes and they did these things where they explain, you know, world ramifications, but didn't do it without preaching. So you think about the episode with the computer at the school because the school was so run down, they were willing to take basically this killer robot, just because they didn't have the resources at the school that she went to. That was the same thing about the gentrification episode, and where they showed the local politician, the guy, the congressman or not congressman,
Pedro.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the city alderman or whatever it was, metro
Mm-hmm.
council member who was over that area, but he was willing to let that go down because of the money that they threw at him,
Mm-hmm.
and it took a shift in him to kind of and then the back in the neighborhood to make everything go back right. Brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good
And how
stuff.
her mother opposed Moon Girl at the time. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, I thought you were with us. And
And
she thought she was doing right and realized that even when you're doing right, somebody can have ulterior motive of doing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good lessons for a
a lot of good
13-year-old to
lessons.
learn.
I
Yeah.
thought one of the two that stood out, and as the father of a black girl, the hair episode. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant. And I think I would have to say it was black women who wrote it. I think it took black writers' room and black women to write that episode the way that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But to also not be offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was written from a real place of understanding.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, well, every superhero they need their sidekicks or their help along their journey. Give me your thoughts, Chuck. I'm gonna start with you, Chuck. Give me your thoughts on Luna and her team that helped her be Moon Girl. What did you think about some of the side characters that helped her to be Moon Girl?
I thought they were great. There's two that stood out to me the most, of course, as always. Devil Dinosaur. I didn't know how they're going to sell this dinosaur in this series. And he had so much personality. He was so silly. Like, he was hilarious. Every time I saw the Devil Dinosaur, I was laughing. I said, what they're gonna make him mean? They're gonna make him tough. They made him the proper character. And my favorite character of all the characters is Casey. Casey is an amazing character. Everybody needs a best friend like Casey.
Why so? Why is Casey so amazing?
Casey was just so ride or die. Like, yo, I'm the girl that's all about social media and being pretty. You're the smart girl. And we both feel like outcasts. And we just clicked. And when we clicked, I realized we're people. We're the same people. And I'm going to ride with you no matter what. And you felt that on the episode where she's pretending to be Moon Girl's day off. And she was willing to pretend. She made this big schedule to make her best friend look great and plans. And then Moon Girl had the idea, hey, why don't you just replace me? Because I'm injured and you can go do that. And she was willing to try it. She's like, I know I can't be you, but I'm willing to try this for you.
Yeah.
And even when the villain showed up, she was pretending to be Moon Girl because she didn't want to let her best friend down.
Yeah. And in the hands of like other writers, you could have seen them trying to make them antagonistic, at least at first. And then maybe they find common ground. But no, from the very beginning, she's like, I get you, and you get me. Let's be friends. And I
let's be
love it.
friends. Yep. Yep. This is what Courtney would say is what she's always looked for. We get each
Shouts
other.
out to Miss Courtney Scott right out there. She's a little under the weather though. Shouts out to her. Sorry, go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah. So, but Casey Maria Eva Dorette Goldberg Calderon is my girl. She's my girl. She knows how to sew. She's talented. Like the first sleepover, right? That could have been a time where Casey could have said, I don't want you to go sleep over those girls' house, but she egged her on to go do the sleepover and was there to support her the whole entire time. And she was swapping brains with Dinosaur, with Devil, and Devil was having a field day at the sleepover. Devil was having a field day. It was such a great episode. I think I was dying the whole entire time.
You got it. The Devil was having the most fun in the entire.
Oh man, he's having the ball. He was having the ball, eating and the charades. The charades was fire for me. I was on the ground rolling. But even the girls at the volleyball girls, they were older, and they liked her. They liked Lunella. They were like, we chose you because you're you. Sure, we're the hot, cool kids, but you're you.
And all of them were different too. They made
and all of us are weirdos. And that's what we saw that.
Yeah.
This exterior means nothing to us because we all know that we're kids. Okay. Right. I liked it. I liked the show.
Good stuff. Rakai, what about the secondary characters that helped Lunel be who she was? What did you think about this cast, and did any of them stand out to you?
Yes. I echo what Chuck just said. Casey is a true ride or die. Love Casey. I love Devil Dinosaur, and I knew exactly how they were going to do Devil Dinosaur. He was Clifford the Big Red Dog. He was, you know what I'm saying? He was Lassie. He was a faithful, like, you know, we know he was a dinosaur, but he was a faithful dog, whatever type breed, golden retriever, whatever. He was a faithful, Dalmatian or whatever, other Disney property. And it was easy to kind of translate in there. Yeah, he could be dangerous, but he didn't act like a Jurassic Park T-Rex, you know what I'm saying? Like they toned it down and made it, kid friendly, kid appropriate. And it was perfect the way that they did that in their relationship with him, which is interesting. She speaks T-Rex. It's great. But actually, I think the unsung hero, especially once you get to the later episodes, Mimi, the grandmother.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah. And it's like the thing about Mimi, and it's like, and if anyone has had the pleasure, the good fortune to have been around one of your grandparents, it may not have been your grandmother, but your grandparents carry so much wisdom. And Mimi always, no matter how Lunella would be, and it was really Mimi, the grandmother, who always kind of set her straight, gave those words of wisdom, kind of, put her on the right path again, more so than her mother did. Her grandmother was always very intuitive of Lunella's mood and, gave her almost exactly what she needed or what she needed to hear at the right time in almost every episode. It would be subtle. It would be, just a couple lines here or there, and then she was off. But it always had great impact.
Absolutely.
And man, it may not have been, with great responsibility, comes great power, nothing like that. But she always had those nuggets, those small gems of wisdom.
I thought she said that in every line that she spoke to Lunella, but she just didn't say those words, right? It's almost like she was teaching her something. And again, like that's culture. Like we all got a big mama, Nana, that's the culture bearer, like to keep the family together. And I thought this was perfectly captured in this show. I really enjoyed it. So around episode 15, I felt like there was a shift in the tone. It went from being really kid friendly to it, the stakes got increased a lot. Rakai, I'll start with you, and then I'll go over to Chuck. Was this a good decision?
Um, yes. And I think it started before 15. I think it started in, I want to say maybe, I don't know if that was the episode right before, maybe 14. The gentrification episode started that shift in tone, because it was important that Lunella looked at herself differently and what was her contribution. The one thing that I love about this show, so we know that over the past, I don't know, was it been 15 years now that Marvel has taken over the movie theaters, the MCU. Comics have been around forever, and people love comics, and they go through their highs and lows on, people reading comics. Oh, just quick plug. This Saturday is free comic book day, nationwide. Um, but what I love about, kids grow up and just like we did, you want to be Spider-Man, you want to be Superman, you want to be Batman, but those are adults. Those are grown people. You have to go through some tragedy. You have to go through a lot of stuff and lift weights and fly around the world and get you a fortress of solitude to become that. Lunella is the girl that lived next door to you. You know what I'm saying? That is a superhero that you could aspire to. Was she in middle school, elementary? You know what I'm saying? Like
middle school.
yeah, she's middle school. That is something that my kids can look at, and she's right around their age. Miles Morales was high school. I hate the fact that they aged up Riri Williams, because in the comics, Riri Williams was around the same age as Lunella. And it's interesting to show that some of the smartest people in all of MCU, Lunella, Miles was sharp, Shuri, T'Challa,
T'Challa.
Arguably the smartest people in, and you take out, your Reed Richards and your Tony Stark, but some of the smartest people were, 4 or 5 of the Black people. But I like that kids can aspire to be her. She was nonviolent. She was always about, catching the bad guy or, and protecting her neighborhood. She can't protect all of New York. And, I'm sure that, Brooklyn and Spider-Man got that handled, and, Harlem, Miles got that handled. But, LES, my little part right here, I'm holding down the neighborhood.
Because
and
somebody else was, right? She said they don't come to, the LES, right? So I got to do it.
And that's real. That's real.
Yeah, I get it. Chuck, what about you? What you think? The tone, Rakai said it started around episode 14 with the gentrification episode. I saw around 15-ish, but what about you? Do you think the change in tone to make it a little more, the consequence is a little bit?
I think it was sporadic. It depends. Like the first time the hard change in tone I felt was like episode 6, the Beyonder episode, where he was like, I'll wipe off all humanity if you don't prove to me that they deserve to exist. And she was like, oh my God, I gotta prove they deserve to exist in order for us to stay around. And him, when the Beyonder came in, he tested her, right? He was pushing her to build a character in her. And he was like, whatever I give you, you're going to need. Trust me. Trust yourself. Like he was there to not to punish her, but to build character. And it was like a Loki type of character, but also a mentor. So I think it started with 6. Skip the adolescence. I thought that was a good one, where she invents an app called Skipster, and she was skipping through all the stuff that happened and couldn't recall any of it, and how important it is.
Stuff she didn't want to do. Yeah, she would
skip right through it. I'm looking at the episodes right now, but I think it was sporadic. I think it got heavy on episode 14, the Coney Island episode, when she met the Beyonder and he gave her a test. And at the end of the episode, what he did when he grabbed her grandmother's hand and said what he said to her.
Yeah.
Like this is it.
Because they're still coming for you. And then the next episode,
I didn't want to ruin it for people watching, Randy.
But I didn't ruin it because they're still coming for you. Hey, we didn't give away anything.
But yeah, it's good. It's just that those episodes. I think they mixed it in properly. They're like, okay, this is a silly episode. This is a sleepover episode, and come right behind the sleepover episode is she gets a hard lesson because Lunella has some issues. She was
Perfect.
struggling.
She was smart, but she wasn't perfect. And I
She
don't
was
think
not. She was not a perfect. They did
Yeah.
not Mary Sue her at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Mm-mm.
Matter of fact, without her team, she doesn't become who she
without her team, she doesn't become who
without her
she
team.
is.
Like we got her grandmother, her best friend, the school, and her community, her mother. Yeah, she doesn't become who she is. She doesn't, Michael Barnes, she doesn't solve all the problems alone.
Sometimes she causes problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like the fact they didn't even make her best friend perfect. Like the Bob Mitzvah episode, the Bath Mitzvah episode with Casey and what happened there.
But I thought that was a real conflict between friends, and they ended up resolving it. But that's something real, yeah. And both of them had valid points.
They both did.
She caused the meltdown at the school with the computer too. The computer was like, "I need to take a break." She was like, "Nah, I need to win this game." Like, well, if we keep going, you don't want to see me when I get mad. She was like, "I don't care. I need to win this game."
Yeah. The computer was nice. The computer was like, I finally have a friend.
Right. Yep, I have a friend, but
an
equal. She couldn't put aside her.
But Lunella couldn't see that, right?
Yeah, she put aside her ego, and she didn't create a Cyberdyne.
Exactly. She created Skynet, and she didn't even know it.
Ultron. She done brought back Ultron.
Right. So this season is 16 episodes. Rakai, was that sufficient? Did we need more? Did we need less? Or was it sufficient to tell the story?
Well, based on, and like I said, I don't want to give anything away because I really think that anyone who's listening or watching would really benefit in going to watch this property right here. Based on the cliffhanger, yeah, I need at least one more episode today. I won't wait to season 2. Like come on. I need to know where. Listen, have me hot. It's like, how dare you have me hot over here on some PG cartoon, boy? I'm mad and firecracker, boy.
I had an identity crisis too. I was like, is that it? We gotta have another episode. So I'm in the chat lighting it up, like, I don't think this is it, guys.
And actually the writing on that was brilliant because, and again, without giving anything away, you usually don't see it go that way.
No, you don't.
Usually when something of that magnitude happens, it's someone else that's a side character that step in to, give relief to the lead. And
So Chuck, is Moon Girl, is she a part of the MCU now, and should she be?
Yes. So the rumor is she is part of the MCU. They're going to make her live action somehow.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how I feel about them making her live action. I do like her as a cartoon, but I did like how they brought Maria Hill and made her live action. Made her a cartoon because they nailed her. They nailed who played Maria Hill? What's her name?
Smulders. Did she play
Smolder? She was Maria Hill. It was the cartoon version of her.
That's cool.
When Shield shows up,
Shield
Casey kept calling Shield and got blocked by her. Casey was like, I gotta shoot my shot.
Right.
Uniform ideas, blah, 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 blah. I can do your social media. I can do this. And then Lunella was like, calm down. She said, girl, I gotta shoot my shot.
Right, I gotta shoot my shot. And even Lunella was like, you get me, right? So I thought this was one of the best interactions with Shield that we had.
Yeah. So when she popped up and it was her, I was like, oh, that is what's her name from Shield. And she's I'm Maria Hill. She handed her the business card. I was like, oh, they nailed it. So I was really excited about that. So the rumor is that they're eventually going to bring Lunella in and the Devil Dinosaur into the MCU. I don't understand what property, but they're going to bring them in. it could be the 5 years from now. We know the
Well,
MCU is still here.
But and the thing is, the MCU has reeled from two factors really. So the MCU, ever since Endgame, has not been the same. One is poor writing. Just you've written some awful movies, and then thought we were going to slurp it up because it was Marvel stuff. And no, you put out some trash. Um, but not only that, I think in general, people, once you move away from the A list, don't try to convince us that the B list is now the A list. No, they're still the B list.
Mm-hmm.
Once you take away the heavyweights, unless you give us some new heavyweights, don't try to pass off the water boy and the towel boy and all that and make us think that they starting quarterback. No, this ain't Bobby Boucher.
Yeah.
No, stop. And I think that's what it is. A lot of people like, where's the heavy hitters at? And I think that's why they're making a push to bring out some of the new stars, as opposed to, because like now that Guardians of the Galaxy is going away, and pretty much everybody on that cast has pretty much said they're done. They're gonna.
oh, did we cry? Hello?
Well, I think Rakai froze.
Yeah, I think he froze mid sentence.
Well,
Okay.
I could chime in. They had Captain America in this show. He does make an appearance.
Did he?
Yeah, he made an appearance.
Okay.
He
Okay.
shows up on what's her name, who's like stealing stuff from
That's
Shield.
right. That's right. And also, go ahead.
It was Anthony Mackie's character,
Mhm.
Captain America.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, like, I don't want to give too much away, but the portals can be entrees into the multiverse. It's never decided that it's really not, right? They're different dimensions, but they could be entree. Like, because this could be our first instance of a human being creating something that could tap into the multiverse. Everybody else, it's natural ability. But Moon Girl could have discovered the way to do it through a machine. So I feel like that's a way that she can enter into the MCU.
Yeah, but if you think about it, though, I mean, now we've got the quantum realm. We have the multiverse that through what Doctor Strange and basically Spider-Man have done, Miles Morales, and now you have Lunella has no idea really where that even goes. That portal goes where? All you know is monster.
Yeah.
He left out that she got a T-Rex. He just happened to be red. He was the Corvette of T-Rexes, but
he's a T-Rex where he has horns from. Too. He has horns. He's a devil.
Right. We don't know where he came from. We just know he's a T-Rex. How old he is. What's his like? It's a bunch of stuff that we don't know that could easily, I feel like, potentially be migrated into.
But all we know, he's the baby Yoda of his world. He might not.
Absolutely.
He might be a baby.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. All right. So, guys, I think we've talked about it. It's enough. So we're going to go ahead and re-rate it. Let's start with you, Chuck. How are you going to re-rate Moon Girl?
Binge out. I loved it. I may watch it again.
If I had time on the schedule, I would consider watching it again as well. Rakai, what about you? I probably know your answer, but how are you going to re-rate it?
We don't have higher ratings. Like, yeah.
We've had a few shows like that, and I think this is one.
Yeah, and I think I would love to watch it again, but this time, I would actually love to sit down and watch it with my kids, but specifically with my daughter.
Right, absolutely. I tried to get mine. Oh God,
my daughter is 13, and yeah, I think that she would love this show, but.
Yeah, I tried to tell her, like, you would love it. Like, she's got Afro puffs like you used to wear and all. None of it.
Yeah, no, my daughter can't pull away from her K-drama, so.
admire her videos and things. So yeah, I wanted this to be a moment for us to sit down and watch something together, and it just, But that's my dilemma. That's my dilemma. I am going to concur with the both of you. I'm going to keep this at a 4 binge out. One of the best shows I think that I've seen. Almost reaching like Avatar: The Last Airbender levels of creativity
Does
and
it
fun.
feel weird to say that?
I didn't say. Well, the bar is so high. The bar is so high. And I don't think it got completely there, but it's in that realm. Like, she's on the all-star team of like best. This show's on the all-star
Yeah.
team, like these best kind of animation shows.
And I'm just saying that just from the perception that so many people put their anime and animated features almost in a different category from live action movies. So,
Yeah.
if you think about your movies, your Oscar worthy movies. So, if you have The Godfather 2, Empire Strikes Back, Schindler's List, you know, Close Encounters or Jaws or whatever up there, as these are, you know, the pinnacle, the was it Chinese Connection or whatever it was,
Mhm.
pinnacle of movie making. Apocalypse Now is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur up there with. I mean, those are movies, so I mean, but whatever you're talking
I know
about,
Avatar: The Last Airbender is a very, very high bar. That's like
The high bar.
perfection.
Right.
I,
I do not disagree. I absolutely understand.
I don't put it quite there yet, but it's high up there. It's high because it's a not serialized story, right?
Mhm.
It is every episode is contained into a story. It is what Teen Titans give us. It's very Cal Arts. Like they perfected Cal Arts style. Like it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like every episode stands alone. It's its own story, but it always it progresses who Lanella is. I feel like a progression of her life.
Yeah, you could watch one episode and walk away from it and be like, man, that was great. But if you watch all the episodes, you would have a different feeling. You would see
Yeah.
of her character over the years.
And I feel like it was building towards that. Like everything is
Mm-hmm.
individual, but like it was still laying a foundation. And by the time we got to episode 15 and 16, it was like, oh, this is what they've been telling us for this whole series. Because we learn who she is, her community, her motivations, and the people around her, what they are. They tied it in so perfectly. Like Chuck was saying, I love the relationship between her and her best friend. Like it is textbook. And you never get the idea that either one of them are sidekicks, right? Like there's no doubt Robin is the sidekick, right? There's no doubt that the guy, the boy in Spider Man, like he's the sidekick. Nah, Lunella leans in on her team, and they're just as pivotal to this story as she is. And I just thought the way they did that was magical. And I'm with Rakai, that last episode. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
you gonna really who shot JR me? Are you serious?
Yeah. My favorite episode, one of my favorite episodes, is the one with Anel. When the devil dinosaur felt like he was being neglected, and a nail came and showed up.
Yeah, man.
And the little hamster, and he was like, "What the fuck? I'm the one you love here."
Right? Yeah, man.
And she had to learn that lesson.
Yeah, and the way that Dinosaur did, like, he doesn't have any like words. It's all expressions.
Man, you see it in him too.
And he killed it. Yeah, he killed it. And the animators had to write. The animators had to create that. Like they had to be expressive.
Gave him a lot of personality.
Any words or like there's literally he doesn't speak or it's no like talking bubbles or anything. It's like you are seeing it through his expressions and his contact with Anella.
When he did the little thing and she was holding him, she was like, "You're so small and cute. I hate this. I'm so upset at you. I'm angry at you right now." But she was hugging him all tight.
I think
I'm so angry at you right now.
Things that we didn't mention. Well, I mean, one we kind of did. Even though one of the reasons I would really want to watch this with my daughter is because this show screams girl power. And the way that Hollywood has been trying to force it upon us for years and trying to force these moments and make things, and hey, girl power. this show just naturally was that. It was
Mhm.
all about Lunella and Casey's empowerment, Mimi's empowerment, even the episode with her mom and empowerment, like it screamed girl power. However, there were two episodes that had something to do with boys. And one of them, one that we didn't talk about earlier, was the little troll episode,
Mhm.
and also in that one was the dangers of social media, the troll episode.
Mhm.
And then the other one was the one where she was and one we talked about was in the science fair.
Eduardo.
Yeah, and how kind of not to judge a book by its cover. Um, and I thought that those were really, really well done. It's they didn't crap on, boys, or they didn't male bash or anything like that or whatever. And even in taking the focus off of Lunella Moon Girl for a little while, I thought those were brilliantly done episodes.
Yeah.
And I think kind of what you guys were saying earlier in the Beyonder testing her, it it's it's almost like they used the Beyonder in a way that I don't really remember him being used like that in the comic books, where it's almost like he was omniscient, omnipresent, because
Mhm.
he knew episode 15 and 16. Like he knew, that
Mhm.
when he talked to Mimi, yeah, he knew.
Yeah.
It's like
They got
yeah.
cool. Good stuff. Rakai, you got anything to say before we head out, sir?
No, what how am I gonna say no and then start talking? That don't even make sense.
Mhm.
You good? You good?
Uh, I'm really, really looking forward to next week.
Okay.
Like if I mean, and it's wonderful to have two feel good weeks back to back. Like this week felt good. This week felt great. Next week is gonna feel phenomenal. I may
Why do you feel that way? Like, tell the people why you feel that way.
um uh, since I've been on the show, we haven't done one, and and actually Chuck put me onto this. So next week we are covering K-drama, one of the biggest shows in the world right now, Extraordinary Attorney Woo. It's on Netflix, 16 episodes. Each episode is about an hour and 15, so it is a commitment to get through
Mhm.
this.
Okay. I got we're doing the glory and then the extraordinary attorney of Wu.
Is that the order we're doing?
Yeah, the glory is the 10th, and then the extraordinary attorney Wu is the 17th.
Well, then you know what? I'm probably gonna need that because listen, I've already started watching The Glory, and it's if you thought beef was something, it has fired off everything in me. Episode one, I wants to kill everybody. Like when this is over with, I'm gonna have to make sure I finish in the daytime so I can go directly to the shooting range and kill
Oh,
someone. But Whew.
good stuff.
Hey, the Koreans are killing the game
Killing
right.
it. Yeah,
Killing
killing it.
game.
Killing
Uh,
it. Whether it's on the animation side, live action, K dramas, yeah.
yeah, Extraordinary Attorney Woo, The Glory, what is it, Alchemy of Souls,
Mhm.
soon, like they have so much good stuff on right now. Ooh, I hope so. Okay, so The Glory's next week.
Yep,
Jeez,
of course, next week.
he's up.
Chuck, got anything to say before we head out?
I'm looking forward to season 2 of this Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur. And Disney has the balls to try to cancel this. I'm gonna blow up Disney Plus. I'm gonna
Oh
go to
Lord.
their
Well,
effing headquarters and blow them up. I'm gonna blow it up. I'm just gonna blow it up.
we need
Um,
to do what they're doing for Shadow and Bone if they try that.
yeah, right.
Create the
'Cause,
communities and everything like that.
I enjoyed Miss Marvel. I'm excited for the Marvels.
Mhm.
Miss Marvel seems very charming in the Marvels.
Mhm.
And I think if they bring Lunella to live action, hopefully they found an actress for her already. And I hope she gets to meet Kamala Khan. I would love for her to meet Kamala Khan. They're from similar places, and it'd be nice for them to bump into each other. I would say even with Kate Bishop, they're all in New York.
It would be
Yeah.
nice to have like a young Avengers kind of thing.
Yeah, it'd be
But
Kamala Khan, Katie Bishop, and Lunella and Casey. Oh, that'd be great.
I like it. I like
You
it.
know, they can find some boy characters in there somewhere. They can find some boy characters
Well, yeah, I
somewhere.
know there was in the comic there was Moon Boy. Moon Boy existed actually
Mm-hmm.
before Moon Girl.
Really?
They didn't
Mm-hmm.
touch. Yeah, they didn't touch on that in this series. Moon Boy kind of transfers. It's a long thing, but yeah, the first person with the dinosaur was Moon Boy. It was Moon Boy.
Well, we don't need Moon Boy to have the dinosaur because Moon Girl and the dinosaur are a perfect pair.
They're perfect as it is.
Mm-hmm.
As it is. All right. Shouts out to Digital Click. They provide all of our surroundings and our marketing. If you are considering some marketing and promotional activities, consider hiring Digital Click. Shouts out to Rodney, our technical director. You know, he does all the transitions. He puts up the graphics for the ratings. And shouts out to you out there in the chat, Nerdy Entrepreneur, Peter Griffin, and everybody that joins us each week. The Geekish Network, we are about people of color. We've got dope ass people in front of the camera and behind the camera, and we're working to make dynamic and outstanding content. So please support us, like us, share us, blow our spot up so we can continue doing this for you. As Rakai said, next week we're doing The Glory. You know, it's a K-drama. So come on back and join us. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Peace.